Hello, my name is Melvin. In this video, I will demonstrate my understanding of grammar of games concepts in the context of movement, throw and catch, and 9 squares, highlighting the role of GOG in enhancing physical education and cross-curricular learning in the PDHP curriculum. Len Almond emphasizes that without a clear purpose for each educational component, teachers merely deliver content. Physical education should foster learning in, through, movement, and about movement. The Grammar of Games framework is central here, offering a concept-to-context approach that helps students apply abstract concepts across situations, thereby deepening their understanding. CCA fosters a network of interconnected ideas influencing lesson planning to support diverse student needs and aligns with the New South Wales PDHP syllabus, which promotes valuing movement. Grammar of Games, developed by Forrest, offers a cyclical structure to support skill acquisition and includes 4 interactive concepts: strategy and tactics, decision-making, movement skill, and communication and concentration. Grounded in Thorndike and Woodford's theory of similar and identical elements and schema theory, Grammar of Games reinforces the learning processes of isolation, acquisition, and application, enhancing transfer and skill learning. In the analysis, I will be applying the Grammar of Games model to the stimulus videos that presents the context of modified volleyball and netball under the title of Movement, Throw and Catch and 9 Squares. Before analysing, it's important to understand the primary rules of the game. Primary rules are the parameters and structure of rules to follow that dictate how the game is played. Decision making is the first concept I will go over. Aspects of decision-making act across 2 domains, including individual and team aspects in in-game context, with or without possession of the ball. When observing decision-making, it is evident to differentiate decision-making between proficient and novice individuals according to their posture and position. In the opening clip with the team in position, the individual on the left must decide with multiple factors influencing it to be a successful play. The individual's decisions will be guided through the primary rules. The educator can adjust or implement primary rules to frame knowledge map. For example, this female individual had to decide on where to throw. Their throw was grounded in the posture and position of their own position, their teammates' posture and position, and the resources, which consist of what I have in terms of their own ability to send the object where their teammates can successfully receive the ball and use their height or personal characteristics. The individual was also implementing the action rules such as attack from the front and near the net, where they would place the ball up the front section of the court to create a sequence and powerful finish. The other team members must decide using the other individual's posture and posture position of the object of when to return as well. They incorporate the action rules stated by Levensky. Ball and play always follow with your eyes, although due to poor verbal and non-verbal communication, the other 2 were confused on who would go. This resulted in the ball being dropped for an unsuccessful play. As well, this included their individual strategy and tactics. As this was the first play, they lacked tacit learning, and further on in the video, it is notable that they had learnt through their accumulated understanding of the logic of the context through tacit engagement combined with action rules. This can further inform strategy and tactics, where the individual decides based on my game plan and adaptations to formulate play and team aspects of strategy and tactics. Novice players focus their attentive attention on the ball and let the object make decisions for them, rather than reading the play and expanding their perception space. They are more reactive and focus on isolated game features, rather than anticipate movements. This is determined by their posture and position on the playing field. For example, in this play, when this team was receiving the ball and not in possession, the 2 individuals on the left were focused on the ball, although the female individual let the ball make her decision on where to engage as she followed it, but went into her teammate's position area. Her posture and position highlights that there are no evident action rules to guide her decisions, and that her knowledge map is still in progress. This coincides with the other GOG concept, communication and concentration, as individuals decide on what they want to engage with. The female individual's attentive and cognitive focus was bottlenecking. meaning that it was isolated and only focused on one aspect of the game rather than the holistic nature of play, such as ball trajectory, positions of my teammates, engagement space, had not been refreshed as well, and action rules and individual strategy and tactics, including what the team's plan was. It's important to note that when observing the motor skill acquisition of an individual, that the speed and time of 3 seconds of decisions made in gameplay indicates where they sit on the spectrum between novice and expert. We see this where the female individual realizes that she has gone into the wrong area and clashed with her teammate over poor communication, and after a couple of seconds decides to follow the primary rules. This indicates that she has not maintained effective defense, and this led to congestion, as according to Liskevich, correct defensive positioning and aspects of defense are guiding through reading the development of the point of the attack correctly. This comes down to movement skill acquisition, as well as understanding what is my/our role in relation to the play and what do I/we engage with, known as collective strategy. Due to the lack of communication and decision making, this led to a slower and less cohesive play. When looking at communication and concentration, it's significant that this concept provides insight into the other 3 concepts. This includes the verbal and non-verbal communicative aspects in gameplay that influence movement skill, decision making, and strategy and tactics. Verbal communication allows individuals and teams to predict/warn/identify occurrences in current and future action in the movement context. It also manages decisions, strategizes implementation, directs focus and attention to relevant cues, as well as motivates and indicates enthusiasm of the players. As seen in the 9 squares video, this individual responds to verbal cues from their teammates, stating that the ball is in play, and the sound of the ball being caught catches their attention. The late reaction meant that they were not concentrating, although provided their resources and movement skill of awareness, they were able to respond in adequate time. Non-verbal communication helps demonstrate readiness/capacity to engage and be a part of action in movement by identifying intent to own team and opposition at an individual sub-whole team level. This encourages, distracts, motivates, and demonstrates strengths or weaknesses. In this situation, the lilac team has the ball in possession. A purple player comes up to apply pressure. They then strategically wave their arms around to distract the other lilac player. Another lilac player joins in behind to wave their arms to help and seek for a pass, although it increases their attentional demand to bottleneck. This increases the level of attentional demand and focus on the lilac player and forces a quick decision out of them. The lilac player froze and did not know how to respond, meaning they were challenged due to their attentional demand caused by the 2 players. This led to a standstill position, and their posture and position was stationary, meaning they could not complete the play and were out of options. Moreover, the purple team also violated a primary rule by having too many players in the same square. This highlighted poor use of communication, which led to an error, giving the other team opportunity to play. It's important to consider the amount of attentional demand that is placed on an individual, as this impacts the amount of concentration they will engage in. For example, in the 9 squares video, this individual was staring up at the person recording, which meant that they had switched off their attentional focus on the game and made it broad. This means they are either decreasing cognitive load or easily distracted, deeming their attentional focus as broad and internal. In terms of the other Gramo Games concepts, it is visible that the individual engages back in the activity after they have heard verbal cues from their teammates stating that the ball is in play, as well as the object sound, reinstating the importance of individual strategy and tactics, but also collective strategy of the team by using effective communication. By communicating non-verbal and verbal cues, this impacts concentration and shows the level of engagement of an individual in gameplay. For example, in the movement throw and catch, the individual uses their posture and position to give a non-verbal cue to the other player to get them to use illogical concepts of running to then finish the play. This gives insight into the transparent link between communication and creative movement skill. Strategy and tactics provide great insight into how the team effectively communicates and concentrates, as well as makes decisions and demonstrates effective movement skill execution. A strategy is a formulation of planning to achieve a desired outcome and invokes initial implementation of the plan, whereas a tactic is an action carried out to achieve a strategy that is made voluntary or involuntarily. Another consideration can be how the team uses action rules to guide their strategy formulation and use of tactics in gameplay. When considering strategies in play, this is demonstrated in the movement thrown catch between this group when on defense, where they engage their gameplay configuration in an effective play space. This involves a gameplay configuration triangular formulation that uses their resources to cover the most effective amount of space possible, demonstrating force ratio. Everyone understood their position and its responsibilities. The team demonstrated the same positions, suggesting they had an action rule in play, guiding their defensive reset to guide their decisions. For example, the individual at the back is the deep player, and made the decisions by reading the play of the other team, and used verbal and non-verbal cues such as pointing to guide his teammates. The teammates also used the guidelines to engage in the effective play space, and stick to them rather than going into the middle and avoid the idea of centrality. Economy of gameplay is maintained by each player as well as their engagement space, action rules, individual strategy and tactics, knowledge map, and cohesion in defensive plays. An example of tactics can be seen in the movement thrown catch, where the individual uses subterfuge, deception, by pretending to pass the ball to one side. The player tricked the opposition into moving by using their posture and position, only to direct the ball to the other partner. Catching them off guard, they had to quickly rush over to cover the space that they had left. This tactic created a clear opportunity and used force ratio by exploiting the opposition's misplaced focus and using a plan that took advantage of opponent errors, which was opportunity. In terms of the other interrelated grammar of games concepts, this decision was guided by knowledge map and tacit understanding. The individual applied their movement skills to communicate their engagement with the activity. By using collective strategy to frame their decisions, they were able to successfully create a tactical sequence to deceive the opposition and use their own perception resources, tactical mobility, and reserve. When observing movement skills in gameplay, observers must make judgments on whether their movements are effective, efficient, and context-specific. Efficient means no wastage. Effective means it got done, achieved the desire. Context-specific means asks, did it work in that context specifically? When understanding movement skills, using a thematic approach enables observers to see how movement skills occur through understanding of movement concepts. Effective movement skills are seen when individuals demonstrate locomotor, non-manipulative, and manipulative skills in gameplay situations. These further enhance strategy and tactics, communication and concentration, and decision-making in games. To describe an individual's movement performance, this can be done using the 4-point scale generic levels of skill proficiency. These include performance indicators to come up with an overall picture of where they are at. An individual can either be determined to be pre-control, control, utilization, or proficient at a movement skill. For example, this individual on the lilac team was up on the defensive side of the playing area. Here they made a quick decision and used speed through running to catch up to the fast break and give option for a pass which is successful. This individual displayed individual strategy and tactics, as well as reserve and creating a tactical advantage. They first started walking slowly to deceive their opponent, then ran out of nowhere began sprinting. The other yellow individual failed to keep up and maintain a man-on-man defense, so they used this as an opportunity to break through and allow for a fast pass before defense could apply pressure, using deception. This places them at a higher level on the GLSP, around a 3 and a 4. F4, it is evident that their decision was made by the object's posture and position, and the posture and position of the opposition with them in the square to inform their strategy and tactic. They then used verbal and non-verbal communication through posture and position and arm cues to gain attention for a pass. In the movement throw and catch, when the individuals were throwing the ball using manipulative skills, they would decide on where to throw based on the posture and position of their own position, teammates, using their own resources to create height so that their teammates could receive the ball effectively and efficiently. Here, this individual had to also consider their capacity to throw and how their height impacts this as her teammates were taller. so she had to incorporate individual strategy and tactics to adjust her throw to suit both teammates using her resources. When she would throw, she would increase her range of motion and use triple extension to create a summation of forces to send the object to a high position, so that her teammate would have enough time to catch the object. Therefore, this individual was able to decide and communicate through posture and position to her teammates where the ball would go and the height of the object being sent. Concentrating on her team suggesting that she understands competency network and its impact on their strategic plan. This indicates that she is moving towards a 3 and a 4 on the GLSP, as she can anticipate and adjust to her gameplay configuration by combining movement skills such as hip extension, throwing, and kinetic chain force. Therefore, movement skills give the observer an idea of engagement of the three concepts in play, and ultimately insight into the physical manifestations of decisions made based on the game's grammar. Physical education benefits from the grammar of games approach, encouraging student engagement by focusing on the whole system of play rather than isolated skills. According to Perkins and Solomon, system-based learning in sports supports knowledge transfer across sports contexts. Through the analysis of the application of all four concepts in both contexts of movement, throw and catch, and 9 squares, they provide insight into the complex interconnectedness in PE contexts and how educators can plan, adjust, and teach students in PE. This holistic learning approach helps students engage, understand gameplay, and achieve educational outcomes in physical settings. This provides insight for PE educators as all four concepts are directly applicable to PE lessons, as they aim to improve both practical and theoretical understanding of gameplay, which ultimately helps students enhance their performance in sports. Thank you.